Hello and welcome back to the OPL Gauntlet. This is only the first night of it. We're already going to Game 5. Avant Gaming taking on Legacy Esports right now. And honestly, these two teams, there is not daylight between them.
This is exactly how we thought the series would go. Like, absolute nail-biter, like, just scrappy back and forth between these two teams. Like, absolutely just battling it out to the end. And here we are at the end. Game number 5.
Yeah, Dodo Sin playing in the background. Legacy back on the blue side. Will we see any changes in the band? So far, we have not.
We got to see
it. It's going to be Caitlin Karzix again.
Galio Scion.
Potentially.
Maybe it's going to come out from Legacy. And I feel like we have to touch on that. AV have shown throughout the series, they've shown that Legacy have to ban the Scion every single game. They're not willing to play against it. Maybe Bard is something else they need to look at. So as this progresses coming into the day, I know you were saying that AV kind of have more wildcards than Legacy. Legacy seem to be pretty linear. Maybe now that we're at the end of a best of 5, it's not a 3-0. We've got all 5 games. We see that slightly coming into effect here.
100%. I think we saw that come into effect with the Bard pickup. All of a sudden, so many of the picks were negated. Claire actually bouncing up and down in his share.
He's got himself Rise again.
Got himself Rise.
He's happy about it. Maybe he's just, he's bouncing around to Dodo Sin, you know.
He's won one, lost one, though, on the Rise.
He has. And he's won one, lost one to Swain as well.
Yep. But what do we see in response from Avant Gaming? I want to see Orn Braum locked in right now.
Yeah, okay.
That is what I want to see.
Is it just going to be like Olaf Corki again? Olaf Varus into the Corki pick?
I don't know. We'll see. They go down to the wire. Ezreal priority.
Okay. Suddenly they don't want Raid to have the safety of that Ezreal pick. They want to have that in their own hands. If they pair that with a Braum, it kind of negates, mimics Orn.
Yeah, if you take Braum
it's a
right
very
now.
good 2v2.
Yeah.
14 seconds left. They have a little bit of time, Pabu. Pondering about that one, but no, it's just going to be the Olaf again, only.
I mean, it makes sense. Only's had a very good series on it.
He has. If you give him, like, the priority jungler, and priority jungler is something weird to say, especially when you blind pick, but in this meta of tanks, he just clears faster, has the advantage, so they take the top tier Viking there, and Legacy looking for an answer right now.
Yeah, and I think that they're just going to take themselves, potentially, the Orn
Braum. Yeah.
Would be very smart, in my opinion, taking that away, especially given the fact that Olaf plus Ezreal are both projectile heavies champions.
Should be able to eat that one with the shield. At what stage do we start calling
potentially they have to take the Sejuani, though.
Just Braum, you know? But no, it is gonna be the Braum. Well, if we think about it, right? They've played 3 Rek'Sai games, and I feel like we've critiqued all of them, been like, Sybil was not effective, but
they won 2 of them.
They have won 2 of them. So if they're more than happy to just like, look, give away the Olaf.
I say this all the time.
Then you get Sejuani, Zach Band, and you just go back to the Rek'Sai.
When are you not winning because of a pick, but in spite of a pick?
That's it.
And I feel like, as much, I like Lockie, but as much as, you know, he's a good guy and all that, those 3 games, to me, were not impressive.
Claire?
Number 3 was his best, to be fair.
In their wins, for the most part, Claire has been like dragging Legacy over the line.
Yep.
I feel like in a lot of these games here is it won't be any of the bottom lane locked in. It's just going to be the Nah into the Orn once again. This is the first time we've seen Pabu. Sorry, no, second time we've seen Pabu. Last game looked good. Both top laners actually looked good.
Last game.
They found very good engages. That mid-fight where it was just back and forth time and time again. Mimic comes in with a TP flank, huge knockups, and then Pabu answers and AV eventually wiped the floor.
Mimic got back-to-back 3-man knockups. I feel if, as a CC top laner, if you knock people up 3 times, once you deserve to win the fight. You do it twice, and you don't win the fight, I start pointing fingers.
That's hard done.
I start question mark pinging. No, I don't. I'm a civilized League of Legends player.
Okay, but we have seen the adaptation right now. Ezreal blind picked for Blinky, and they do ban away the Tristana again. Instead of the Sejuani Zac, which we expect, so Sybil will have that one available. See if he does opt in for that over the Rek'Sai.
They can just go with the Varus right now. I mean, it's still a good champion. I know that they're gunning on the fact that there will be low mobility out of the Legacy lineup, but I mean, that is what it is. You already committed yourself to Rise. You're going to have a low mobility comp.
And it is just going to be the Corki answer once again.
It's up 2 Schnuffs and got himself an Age Machine. I can't even speak anymore.
That was a bit of a lisp in that one.
Yeah, this is real
That wasn't an ace. That was an ace. But, got to be the Corki pick, as we mentioned once again. It's gone 1-1 this series into the Rise. They won 1, they lost 1.
Both games it looked okay, though.
It did. And these were the very long, drawn-out games. Of course, you mentioned the Varus, but Raid, just going back to the Jhin, was not too effective last game. But that was because of a few factors, right? Like, you had the Bard, you had the team fights, and that game was kind of just like in AV's favor.
Why can't they just take Bard right now?
From the get-go. And that's the thing, they can't. They did get that early kill at like level 2 onto Jake on the Bard, so the game didn't start in favor of AV, but potentially not going to be the Rek'Sai or the Sejuani.
I don't see why you wouldn't take Bard right now. I think the Skarner pickup is brilliant, by the way. It's going to delay the item spikes coming out of Frey. It's going to potentially mean that Pabu has to take one. And he throws the Gauntlet and grabs himself the Bardo.
But now, we have to talk about that one. Skarner, much better into Bard. Does not care. It just becomes another threat that you don't really want to be building QSS. But the big thing is, I think, Braum. Because Bard into Taric, he doesn't do anything. He's a squishy melee that wants to invest into tier and then scale up over the course of the game. But Braum kind of negates any proactive ult play. If you set up an ulti on the Bard, Braum's just going to stand in between you and your target with the Unbreakable. Your Q's not going to go through. You're not going to land the stuns. So Jake going to have a bit of a harder time in this matchup than he did last game.
Certainly, the lane's a little bit more difficult as well. Taric shouldn't have all that much kill threat, even though we saw him pick up a kill. Braum, on the other hand, if you take W and Q, he's able to just leap to a creep and start pummeling him.
If you're not against a wall, which I feel like Jake is going to have to play most of this game up against the wall, then you just get got. If Q lands, Winter's Bite hits you in the face, concussive blows, you get stunned up, you die immediately to a 4th shot. Jin's Burst cannot be understated.
Absolutely. However, this game has gone the journey, and you would think this game should be no exception, as we are about to get onto Summoner's Rift for game number 5 between Avant Gaming and Legacy Esports. Avant said that 5th place was not good enough. Legacy, whilst rebuilding, have never finished outside of the top 3 at the end of an OPL split, with a very big asterisk behind Split 1 of 2015.
It was 3rd, tied 4th, okay? You can call it 3rd.
You can call it 3rd. Let's call it 3rd. And I honestly cannot wait. Everyone has got exactly what they wanted. Legacy's comp looks so scary on paper, but Jake's team once again has Bard, and here we go.
They have the flair. AV 100% have the flair in this game. Legacy, front to back. They've got the damage, they've got the CC, they have the front line. But we've seen the scaling out of the Ezreal Corki lineup. We've seen Pabu absolutely pop off on the Gnar and only pop off on the Olaf. Potentially, a bit of a level 1 coming out.
Yeah, it certainly could be, because they've brought 3 members over. Do they go for this? Do they just take a magical journey through a wall as soon as they step onto the shrine?
Maybe they do. Maybe this is the play. Pabu is always going to check. Oh, as Jake actually went to go get a chime, he has the extra move speed, so
actually,
they do get.
They're going to force him out.
Axe does land. It's 2 in a row, but they don't get anything else.
I feel like waiting for them to step on the shrine and then all-inning them with Bard Olaf would have been awesome.
Because if you think about what happens with Skarner Shrines level 1, normally red side gets bottom lane. Because they have 2 members down there, and then blue side gets top side. And it's just kind of like cross-match.
It's a gentleman's agreement almost.
Is.
You don't fight for them.
But I feel like Legacy, they didn't know Jake was top side, but obviously AV kind of posture here.
Massive
into
gold
the top
advantage,
side, so
by the way.
Yeah.
They are 30 gold ahead before
huge.
creeps have met.
Monstrous.
Big leashes coming from both of these guys, by the way. Bard Ezreal is not a leash to be scoffed at. Neither is Braum. But at the same time, Jhin doesn't really want to use a 4th bullet.
He also doesn't really want to get into lane and then have a 4th bullet. Because it means your pushing power on the wave 1 is kind of rough. We will notice as well that Jake has opted into using the good skin this game. As he's got himself Snow Day Bard.
Yeah, hot cocoa.
There we go. That's it. They do lose priority early in this lane. They stuck around a little bit longer, leashing the buff for only, so he's going to be a little bit further ahead. But Olaf and Skarner, clear, fairly similarly.
Yeah, they're almost exactly the same pace, to be honest. That's what pushed them into the S tier. Sejuani obviously brings a much better late game than both of these champions. Just through her passive, you know, any melee being able to proc that for her is just so strong. However, you can see right now that this laning phase looks relatively good for the Ezreal as well as the Bard. They're just going to let themselves be pushed in level 1.
They have hit level 2 and they haven't died yet, so...
If Blinky wanted to match the wave, he would be spamming Qs a lot harder at this. That's a very nice trade out of Claire.
Does get himself a little bit of a chunk right now. Only goes topside, and with the help of Frey floating over there a little bit earlier, does get himself the top Scuttle Crab as well. So Pabu going to have a nice lot of vision towards the top side, places his own ward to be able to push Mimic in under his turret if he wants to.
And now this is like game 1 all over again, Bryce. How passive do these two teams go?
Back to
what
the,
do we want to see them? Like,
back to the don't do anything.
Yeah.
Game 5, let's do nothing.
Yeah, because at a certain point, there will be players that will be thinking, I do not want to lose this game for my team. And there will be players that will be thinking, I want to win this game for my team. And sometimes when those two personalities clash, fireworks happen. For example, potentially, and this is just a random example, right?
Oh, okay, what is it?
Potentially, your support will just continually flash headbutt pulverize forward.
Oh my god!
And, you know,
I knew it.
You won't necessarily be ready for it. You won't necessarily be able to follow up at all. But potentially, that is what he thinks will be the correct play.
You suck, Jake.
Just hypothetically.
How about that?
Just hypothetically, for example.
How's that for my opinion? I haven't even watched that game back, you know.
Haven't you?
No,
Still.
I've never seen it. I've never seen the...
For context as well, Bryce watches every cast, every game back, and critiques my job extensively.
Your job?
Well, when I was a caster, I feel like I got a lot of comments from Chiefs members.
I feel like that's not true at all.
Oh,
From Chief members or from me?
From just all-round Chiefs members.
Okay, there you go.
I would say they were the most vocal team.
Just so comfortable, you know? Chief spawn.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah. Absolutely, but we kind of seem to be back in game 1 and 2 tier laning phase right now. Claire has based, didn't have to TP back to lane, did get the feed in there.
Yeah, I mean, Frey did the exact same thing. He's based, grabbed himself a cull as well as boots.
So it's a kind of advantage over to AV, you think, with the if they have the proactivity in the bottom lane, suddenly they have a TP, whereas Claire stuck with a heal. Doesn't have the ability to get around the map. He does have the Realm Warp, but significantly shorter distance, especially on the level 1, or rank 1 rather, at the level 6.
At the same time, if you're Frey, you really don't want to be using that TP to have any kind of aggressive play. That really is the...
I mean, game number 2,
Yep.
we saw him TP back to a Baron play, and then just red carpet the entire backline in 1v3.
I mean, at that stage of the game, sure. I mean, in laning phase,
Hey,
if you're teleporting...
Same champion, mate. Same champion. Works the same way.
Yep. You don't need 3 items to do
no,
that.
absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Don't need a package. None of that.
Somehow, by the way, Blinky is like RNG Jesus.
Okay.
I've just... In last game, I watched him grab 2
slice
stacks of gold
Mhm.
and got a 90 and a 70, which is quite high on the rolling. And now he's just hit 1 Q the whole time I've been watching him, and he just nabbed himself a red pot.
That's good. That's the good stuff right there. Only going to fall down a little bit in camps right now, but potentially just going to solo out his first dragon of the game. Very nice stun from Jake.
Blinky has
Extra
missed
damage
4
gets blocked.
CS as I've been watching it. Someone please make it stop.
A small thing I want to note, the Braum,
This is big, actually. Rise potentially can go over the wall, look to contest. Nah.
he's going to channel his base, so he knows with Sybil topside, they won't be able to contest that one. So Legacy at least know this one's going down. But I need to know, the Electrocute is the brunt of Jake's damage early in the game. The Electrocute proc coming through from the rune, he lands the Q, lands the auto, and that applies it, obviously, because his auto has 2 parts with the Meeps. And then the big burst of damage comes through. So Decoy being able to block with the Unbreakable means that Raid's going to have a much better time in this lane.
You can see that right now. Sybil's done to Only what Only has been doing to Sybil, if that makes sense for the whole of this best of 5 so far. He's put him on farm. He said, I'm going to go up 3 camps, and I'm going to be level 6 right now with Predator. And if I am the rest of Avant Gaming, for the next couple of minutes, I am playing very safe because there is a massive Skarner rolling around.
Oh, Pabu's actually going
However, in the top
Mimic.
lane, you see Mimic go very low. Pabu will get knocked up, but
Oh,
is
he
that going
hits
to be enough?
Only
He
as
hit
well.
Only as well. Predator has been
Oh.
popped. However, they will get the flash.
And he doesn't even have vision. That was 100% blind, and he actually hits the jungler of Only right there.
You have to say, why didn't Pabu go the other direction then? Why didn't he go towards top side of the lane so there was no hope that Only was going to be tagged by it? Maybe a little bit like metagaming and a bit too in-depth of a thought, but...
That's either luck or just like next level thought process for Mimic, where he's like, look, there's a chance I'm getting ganked right now. If I can throw it in almost any direction and still hit the Gnar, I'm going to throw it towards the Olaf, where he could be coming from.
However, this is like... Did you ever play sport in high school? I did. I was big into sport back
I played
then.
cricket. I played basketball as well.
Do you remember when people used to show up to sporting days and they rocked like really impressive wheels? Like just really good shoes. Like whether they were the runners that actually wore the running shoes.
Okay.
Or the basketball players that actually had really good basketball shoes.
Yeah.
And you were like, that kid knows how to play the game that we're about to play.
Okay.
That's what happened top lane. As actually we see
Oh.
ultimate used and they go in aggressively. Jake was there as well, burnt the ignite. However, flash out of Sybil gets him to safety.
And a nice hold from Sybil, honestly, to not burn the Impale, because only preemptively cast the Ragnarok.
Yep.
So he holds onto the big CC button, does not get wasted, but he does lose his flash.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, hit me with your wheels, Thor.
What I was going to say is that's top lane right now. Mimic has gone back. He's just like got himself like a dodgy pair of shorts or whatever. And then Parbu's rocked up to top lane with like
Real
the
cool
nicest
Merc
pair
treads.
of Merc treads he's ever seen. And he's like, I can't run as fast as this guy anymore.
The entire time you were like making that, I was just sitting here like, well, like where is this going? Where could this possibly go? Well, there you go. I like it. It's not. It doesn't quite match a winged pair of boots.
No, it doesn't.
That Raid's got himself game 2 now.
Yeah.
2 in a row.
Those are like, they're the Nikes. Like,
Yeah.
you know that kid runs real quick.
Back to the game
Our
of League of
shooters,
Legends.
like, when I was a kid, I was just a dumbass. Like, I used to say stuff like that all the time. Like, how can I beat him? His
Now you're
shoes
not
are
a
nice
kid,
than
and
me.
you're still saying stuff like that.
Yeah.
So nothing
Nothing ever
really has
changes.
changed there. Of course, package will be blown.
Doesn't hit any creeps.
Going to expire. So yeah, it does have himself a blue buff though. I feel like in the first 2 games, the blue buff invades when Legacy were blue side really were the name of the game, and that was how the games explode. Legacy would set up an advantage bot side. They would walk into the blue buff. They would take the buff, and then they would dive bottom lane when AV went top. But so far this game, that just hasn't happened at all. Of course, second blue has gone over to Frey. Legacy playing it a lot more passive right now. They don't have the priority enough in the bottom lane and the mid lane as well to pull off that play. So
Absolutely. One other thing that I want to talk about just very quickly is actually the Serrated Turk pickup. I didn't get to mention it. There seems to be 2 different train of thought for Jhin right now. One of them is the Yomu's Ghostblade into the Rapid Fire Cannon. It gives you a lot of early game burst. The other one is actually going back to Essence Reaver, Rapid Fire Cannon, Infinity Edge. As far as a 2-item spike goes, not as good.
Oh.
Babu just whiffs that one. However, as far as 3-item spikes go, like, it's rocket. Like, really good 3-item spike. And I'm very interested in the fact that we've seen 2 early game Jhin builds in games that, when Legacy have looked to be in control, have gone late.
yeah, he does an opt-in for the Essence Reaver, of course. Dirk going straight for that Yuma's Ghostblade. I feel like maybe he just got enough value out of it last game, you know, when he was zooming around, dodging Bard ultis.
Yeah, he looked really
kind of
good last game.
prioritizes the move speed over anything else, and especially in how early AV kind of took control of last game as well. Feels like he doesn't want to opt in.
Oh,
that's a nice
that's a lot of
trade.
damage back in response, and Claire has to turn around.
Sybil,
you can
no
see
flash.
they've already bought over multiple members, and
Only.
Flash will be used only.
Runs away.
Will just run cowardly away. Brave Sir Robin right there. Probably haven't seen
that's
Search
not
for
a
Holy
Viking.
Grail either.
I actually haven't. But that is not a Viking. You know, Viking doesn't turn around and run away from the other team. There he goes in. He was looking for a kill onto Claire there potentially, but of course the Rise has that flash available, so...
Also the fact that the duo landed rotated
Yep, there was
over kind of made it an unfair fight.
There was a few members coming up there.
However, they did get Frey's flash, which is big, because he was winning that 1v1 before the rest of the team kind of showed up.
This is a very slow laning phase overall. Opted in by both these teams. They have the capacity to make a play. Legacy kind of looking around the mid lane right now. But
I don't know. I'm going to say this again. As far as slow laning phases go, I couldn't name a better mid laner to have. Maybe Orianna, then a Corki.
I mean, Rise is definitely no slouch.
Yeah, but Corki
He does get outranged by Corki Ezreal.
Rapid Fire Cannon, Shiv, like guaranteed crit prot, is like actually BS. Like, it is not fun to play against like levels of damage.
But I feel like in my experience with like solo queue games,
Yep.
and then scrims last year, obviously I don't play scrims anymore. Rise on OPL has a much bigger ratio of just like landing that like multi-man combo
Bounce,
and turn it like that singular bounce that turns the game. It doesn't happen in scrims. It doesn't happen in solo queue. Then you get to competitive games on stage and you're like, yeah, Corki's going to outrange the Rise. But then Claire will just miraculously find some play around like an Elder Dragon at 50 minutes and just like one-shot 3 squishies.
Yeah, certainly it's potentially just got a big chunk mid lane then. So Dragon control right now is firmly in the hands of Legacy. You can see, look at that bottom side. River. They're actually pinging out. Is Sybil doing it? That's a very good guess, gentlemen. However, can you do anything about it?
Probably not right now. Jake trying to get some vision control of the river, but Decoy walking up to defend his jungler. So Each jungler kind of taking it in turns to solo out the dragon. Of course, Sybil is just much more liked by his team because he gets more friends to come over and help him do that one.
He's even going to get a full shot.
Oh, 91. That's a 91. Didn't even have to burn Smite, though.
Yep, I mean, that's big. You can see right now that Frey's kind of scared that everyone's gone. However, potentially will be a Rift Herald in response as a hard reset came out bottom lane. That's going to be a Manamune plus Boots 2 picked up for Blinky. So he's in a good spot right now. And they're actually going to go in on the top lane.
Nope.
No, they're not. Because Ryze is chasing them.
He's just absolutely zooming into Krog camp. Had the Predator available, but did not use it there. And I feel like Sybil definitely playing ahead of the curve right now. Has been up in CS across the board. Basically, the entirety of the game so far. So much better performance.
And I mean, is it a better performance, or is it just he's being given a jungler that farms quickly?
Maybe.
Because like I feel like he's just been stuck on, like, apart from Sejuani, who you don't pick for the farming. However, Frey now in trouble, gets flashed on, gets suppressed, gets brought back, and will get blown up. First blood for Sybil.
Almost 14 minutes into the game, and that will be the first kill. They did have to expend the flash, but Claire's actually emoting Frey in the mid lane right now. Does not have TP. So the bottom lanes are rotating up. Unfortunately for Legacy, Raid has to stay bot to catch the wave so that it can't get any damage onto mid turret.
However, they will be able to grab themselves a Rift Herald, so that is very nicely done. And I mean, why not? You can see right now that Claire is up 20 CS. Sybil is up a couple of camps as well. Potentially going to be a dive bottom lane. It is spotted nicely by some vision.
And something we don't often see, Bard can very uniquely dive turrets without actually taking any turret damage. You don't have to alter the enemy champions. You can put the turret into stasis. Suddenly it's not doing damage, and a 2v3 under turret seems like a hard task, but a 2v3 when the turret isn't autoing anyone
very easy.
Much easier.
And then you're unsure whether to get in the Bard ult or not get in the Bard ult.
It's like
it's a real hard decision to make. Because sometimes it's the right call, but then other times you get stunned next to the turret and you die instantly.
And also, you figure out if it's the right call the instant it lands, and you're like, oh wow, I'm a genius, or oh man, I'm a dumbass. Like, there's literally only one of two ways it can go.
Yeah.
And you've committed by the time you find out what it is.
Because sometimes, like, it's a 2v2 and you're like, all right, we can live through this, get in. And then, like, 2 teleports come across and they're just all waiting for you. You're like,
oh, I can't go anywhere.
Yeah,
that one sucks.
To be young again. This is actually just a farm fest. Very nice gank for first blood in the mid lane, but it has not changed the gold whatsoever. Pabu is starting to pull ahead top lane. Bottom lane even. Jungle now even, because Sybil has used all of his priority to grab himself a Rift Herald as well as a Drake, so very nicely done.
And it just becomes about whether they can get a turret with a Rift Herald. Mid turret is fairly low, sitting at about half HP for the most part, so they get any sort of priority, top or mid, top or bot, they can float those side lanes in. They should be able to pick that one up. But the first
likes to say that your side lanes are like wings, and you have to fold them at the same time.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise you kind of leave one side of the map with a big hole in it.
Yeah, and then you start just like sinking, you know? A bird with one wing, like that.
Do they sink?
That doesn't work.
Is that what happens?
Yeah,
I think they drop out of the sky.
I mean, they sink in the air, but like, you know what I mean? It's air instead of water.
Yeah, unfortunately, Bryce, I've spent that much time with you. I do know what you mean. However, Mimic right now is getting chunked a little bit. You can see the Olaf was heading back topside. However, the lack of hyper proc means that he's A-okay.
Different build coming out from Mimic. Doesn't have a Bramble Vest this time, but has gone straight for the Frozen Heart. Maybe just had enough gold to finish that item, so didn't invest in the component.
Yep.
Pabu sitting on the Black Cleaver right now, and this is the point of the matchup where he feels like he can bully the most. As
he's also getting
he's getting
blocked like you would not believe. Meanwhile, mid lane has been Rift Herald. That's going to be a Bard ult. Now Sybil could be in some trouble. Did not get Herald, however, and you can see they're all over here. But very nicely done from Sybil and Claire to pick up turret.
And you have to think Jake was actually looking for the Herald.
Yeah, potentially.
They were looking to try and deny the charge onto the turret. Because you can either stasis the Herald, and then you can look to take it down before it gets the charge. You can stasis the turret when the Herald charges in, and it doesn't take damage, because obviously it's invulnerable. You have those options, but unfortunately for Jake, it does just land onto the jungler. So they get out scot-free, don't have to burn any summoners, and do get the turret trade.
And now they're going to use all of that Ryze priority you talked about to go top lane, and this will not be fun for Pabu. He's been predated, and he did not back in the right spot. He chose the brush, and they say pick again. Clean up the top lane of Avant Gaming, and this will be the second turret of the game.
And 2 for 2 kills. Suddenly Sybil on the Skarner, not the Rek'Sai, not the Sejuani. The Impale putting in work for Legacy right now. Gold lead, only about 1,000, not too much, but it seems like ever so slowly Legacy are taking control of this game.
Yeah, 100%, and you can see Right now, the response is take away a red buff. Now they go over the wall. They're looking for something here. Teleport is available on Mimic and only has been caught out here. Will be stunned up, you would think. No. Gets a Shride, runs a bit quicker.
Gets hit with a grenade instead of an auto attack there, so does not get stunned up. That is the turret.
Oh, they got
destroyed in the mid
turret.
lane. So Claire goes topside. Nice gank, they get the kill, but because he resets and because Sybil actually stays to take the turret topside, they lose their mid one as well. So a turret trade, but you have to think, if you're going to trade a turret, the mid one's pretty good.
Yeah, all of a sudden, that's not the worst. You see also Swifty's being picked up for Claire. That's a little bit strange, but...
I feel like you have Boomerang, you have Axe, you have Rockets and Q, you have Q from Ezreal, you have Bard ulti, Bard Q, stuns like that.
Yep.
So there is a lot of skill shots that Swifties let you dodge out of.
I just think if you're going to play that way, just go Ghost and grab yourself some Lucidity boots and run real quick.
I mean, maybe.
Potentially wants to cleanse.
See if Blinky goes for Frozen Fist as well. Maybe just wants it for the slow resist. They have Bard, they have Olaf.
Multiple members down in this bottom lane. Decoy didn't get his door up in time, but this still should be the turret as Ornn has also headed over. That must be a priority Drake right now. I can't think of another reason why you would send 5 members bottom lane to pick up a turret where maybe 3 members would do.
And it will just be the Earth Drake.
Yeah,
So it's going to be 2 for whichever team picks it up. It looks like Legacy has the priority right now. Yep.
I mean, that's a big Drake. With how much priority has been around Baron, being able to grab yourself 2 Mountain Drakes and a Rise means that they can really rip through the big purple worm very quickly.
And we're only 2 kills into the game, but we are 19 minutes, and we talked about Baron. There are 3 Earth Drakes in the game so far, so we're not going to have another spawn of that one. Legacy pick up 2 for their own, but it's only 30 seconds before the big purple worm, as you mentioned, will be spawning onto the map. And
imagine if you could
all
get
3
more
hours
than 3
are down.
Drakes. Imagine if
like
you just roll like 5
finals.
fire.
That's disgusting.
5 air.
I feel like there's a reason why.
Yeah.
Like it's capped.
Thanks, Bryce.
Because that's disgusting. That's absurd amount of damage. Imagine like second Elder with like 4 or 5 like Infernal Drakes. You already get 3, and like second
Imagine
Elder.
second
like,
Elder with 5 air Drakes.
wow. That's very underwhelming.
We get entertained by different things, but how quick would you move? Is it 3% per Drake?
For the movement speed?
Yeah.
Out of combat? I'm not sure, to be honest.
And then it's like doubled? Like we're talking like 30%
Like
movement
you'd be
speed.
pretty quick.
Pretty quick.
You'd absolutely
You're
be zooming
impressed
around
by
the map.
Swifty boots. You're not even giving it whatever. Yeah,
I just
Infernal Drakes give you big numbers.
Yeah, they do. Boots don't do damage, Jack.
That's not true.
What?
Movement speed means you're in range for longer.
Oh, okay.
Which means you get more damage.
Yeah, all right. All right.
All right. And this is why you're retired.
Oh.
Destiny.
Hey, okay. All right, back to the game of League of Legends we're looking at right now. Game 5 between AV and Legacy. 2,000 gold in favor of Legacy right now. They're contesting around the Baron. You notice how every time you flame me, I just take it back to the game?
Yeah,
you
I
notice
do.
that? Yeah, it's great.
That's a
it's great
defense
fun.
mechanism. That's when I know I've hit the right button.
Okay.
Sybil is just posturing aggressively.
It's placing wards all over the place.
Again.
That's double value ping for Frey right there. Immediately going to counter those 2 wards with...
The reason you pink that is they're the best wards for Baron. Because they're going to try and access through mid lane. And if you can force them to run back through the other river, you just have so much time to go grab the mid lane again and then just immediately go back to Baron.
Not to mention when you have like a Realm Warp and things like that. If you can push up the mid lane and you can just take your entire team and maybe a few creeps as well into the Baron pit. Do creeps do damage to Baron? If they get in there, surely they don't attack Baron.
I don't know. I feel like Baron's everyone's enemy. Like,
Yeah.
common foes unite.
Is he like everyone's friend or is he everyone's enemy?
I think he's everyone's enemy.
Because then I feel like if that's the phrasing, then minions should get in there and be like, what the hell is this thing? Die!
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, get like a super banner, like Baron. No, not a Baron.
Banner of
Banner
command.
like melee minion.
Yeah.
And like just start whacking away at the Baron.
There you go. That's your tank.
I'd love that. Yes.
That would be cool.
That would be cool. I think it doesn't work like that, though, unfortunately. That sucks.
What do Heimer turrets do against Baron? Do they just get instantly killed?
No. Like, the auto attacks, I think, kill them, but, like, obviously one at a time, so you can set up 3 and then you can tank for your turrets.
Yeah.
Ezreal ulti will come out, so AV...
They check.
They do check the Baron, but that's a one-time use. The cooldown is fairly long.
And they start it as soon
They
as
still have
it's
one
done.
blue trinket.
Yeah, blue trinket is up and available, but it needs to be popped right now, and he's gone bottom lane. And I do not think that is the right call. They must know something is going on. They just saw the Skarner. Surely. They're going to throw out an ult, but he just throws an axe. 210, however, in the bottom lane, they're gone onto Mimic. They're going to look to ulti him at the same time. No, they just allow it to go through, and they're going to continue the fight. Mimic is potentially going to take down Frey. No, he will not. So they take Baron, and they only get one member in response.
And that has to be a questionable decision out of Avant-Garde. Legacy have themselves the Baron. They do lose Mimic on the other side of the map, but they're just going to have so much priority, pushing in 2 lanes right now. They're looking to go top side with Claire.
Yeah, no one can really stop Claire in the 1v1 out of the members they left behind. They might actually throw a Bard ulti at him. No, they don't. I feel like that was kind of a free flash from that range.
Maybe the Swifties, you know?
Yeah,
maybe he could have outrun it. Maybe he was real confident, you know? But I mean, to be fair, they really have one way to engage a fight, and that is the Bard ulti. If they burn it onto Claire there, he resets immediately. Legacy 5-man mid lane. Like, they don't have tools under the turret. They have an Olaf axe. If Pabu can somehow, with Flash, get Mega Gnar and get onto the backline without Legacy doing anything about it.
Yep. That would be really nice of Legacy to let that happen.
Yeah,
but also,
it would.
It would be game-changing.
It absolutely would.
I take your point. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah, that's kind of all AV have when they are sitting in this position. 3,000 gold lead in favor of Legacy. They have themselves a Baron buff. Do they opt in for a 5-man play, or do they 1-3-1? I feel like they're 1-3-1.
I mean, I feel like because Mimic doesn't have the Baron buff, it's a little bit more difficult. However, I still think it's the right call. The other thing that Mimic can do is just go mid lane, use his ult, and force him off a turret, and then go to a side lane. Given the fact that he's already got himself like 40% cooldown reduction, it's not going to be on the longest cooldown in League of Legends.
Yeah, absolutely not. He's out of turret as
Bard,
well.
again, is stuck defending a turret by himself.
Oh, he does get rooted up. He's going to die very quickly.
Like, straight away, he just gets lit up and gets destroyed. If you are Jake, that is not the situation you want to be left in.
Sybil, he does have flash available. Glory is popped, but he doesn't want to look for the mini Gnar. Ulti coming out from Blinky to try clear out some of the wave.
But they've got to ban it up. Banner and Minion, and Frey has to burn the QSS, has to dash away. TP is so deep from Mimic, and we might be looking at series victory right now. Legacy going to just take themselves an inhibitor. Claire gets chunked pretty low from Blinky, and they will disengage. There are teleport wards. No, there's not. They're being cleared out. Mimic just hit a wall. But with Claire going back, potentially they can look for a counterplay.
Yeah, Jake did just spawn and still has access to the ultimate there. Sybil playing with fire a little bit. Blinky has the slow for the red buff, so could lock him down, but they do all just back away. Legacy get out scot-free and Avant lose their inhib.
A big dragon to spawn at this stage of the game. It's going to be the Infernal. They call out the horn, and you can see that it will knock out both members, and they just blow up Frey. And Pabu now has to head for the hills. Sybil, in response, is getting chunked very low, but they... Wow, that's so much damage. I mean, Pabu, goodbye.
No flash.
You were there for a while, and now you are not. And now it is 7,000 gold. Baron buff still up and available. And AV trying to defend with 3 members.
But they do not have long on the Baron, but 5v3, you have to think they might just be able to break the base in not 1, but 2 places with a 1 buff right now. Claire actually goes top. The rest of Legacy pushing in the mid lane.
I mean, I don't even know if they can hold as a 3-man unit. You can see they've got no mana. They've got no ultis apart from the Tempered Fate, and there's really nothing they can do. They're just letting the creeps walk into their base, and Raid is just taking pot shots. Instead, they do go towards Claire's lane. Now teleports will be available, at least for this retreat. You see Claire posturing aggressively forward. Blinky has no mana, gets rooted up, has to use the QSS. Very nice bind on the back end. Blinky's still flirting with danger. In comes Frey, and he will be able to do so much damage. Huge Tempered Fate, and Pabu is now here as well. Raid has sprinted to the back to try and get the ultimate. Blinky is dead. Jake is dead, and this is once again going to be Legacy looking to march into the base. Mimic and Claire are pumping out the damage. Do have to burn the flash, but Raid flashes in, grabs himself a triple. Can we make it a quadra? Looking to buy one here. No, he's just going to give it over to his team. He does not care, and now it is only left up and available. Health bars are lower. That should be enough for Legacy to book their date with Order tomorrow.
Do have 2 Nexus turrets still available, but as you mentioned, Legacy are not going to be the 5th place finish.
It's going to be Avant Gaming one more time, locked into 5th, and Legacy going the distance, picking up all 5 games. And I mean, what an absolutely bonkers first set of the Gauntlet.
Bonkers is 100% the right word there, Jake. They give themselves some small hugs, but I feel like for Legacy, that might have just been slightly too close than they would have liked coming into this series today.
I mean, that was a nail biter. Mimic is waving his arms around.
Flailing around.
And I think the pundits had tipped Legacy to be the better team going into this game, but Avant showed that they were so close, and that would hurt.
There's a lot of promise. 100%. These games were so close. Game 3 and 4 looked like either team put their foot in the pedal, and they were absolutely stomping and they had control. But obviously 1 and 2 literally could have gone either way. Legacy coming into the series, they do get the victory overall, lose game 1, momentum, they are able to turn it back, but yeah, rough for AV, going to be another 5th place finish in the Gauntlet.
And let's talk about what that means for Avant Gaming quickly, because this is a team that finished 5th in 2017. They kept their core of Jake, Blinky, as well as Charlie Wraith, their coach, and they did build around some very young, talented people, you know, in the likes of Parbu as well as Only. However, is another 5th finish, like after a Korean boot camp, after everything they've thrown into this roster, I mean, can you really call that success?
I feel like maybe not. I feel like absolutely not. They've said it themselves that they're frustrated with finish 5th, right? So it's not like we're sitting here being like, okay, like, what is the problem? Like, why haven't you done anything about it? Like, they are unhappy with the kind of mediocrity that they're seeing. Because they had a fairly average split, I feel like. They lost to every team that was above them on the ladder, except for Legacy. They beat every team below them on the ladder, but getting into where it mattered, Juve said it in the first segment of the day. He was like, AV, sure, they can win in the regular season, but then when it comes to Gauntlet, unfortunately, they just cannot get the victories they need, and Legacy come up with the goods.
And I feel like they are consistently inconsistent. Sometimes their players show up and have absolutely monstrous games, and then other times it just does fizzle. Legacy, on the other hand, a team that was rebuilding, this is not the last time we're going to see them. I mean, I feel like that's a very promising win. And to hear from their young 80 carry, who happens to be from Melbourne. Did you know that, Bryce?
No,
Let's throw it over to the analyst hangout as well as Raid.
Thank you very much, guys. Yes, we are joined by Raid. First of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
How do you and the team feel with that win, with it going to all 5 games?
Yeah, it's very, very tiring, especially playing Ezreal for 40-minute games when you're like super try-hard mode. It's really tiring. I'm just really happy everyone stayed composed. And, you know, after we were 2-1 up, I think, you know, no one like was like, oh, yeah, shit, we're going to win. Or everyone stayed really relaxed, and I'm glad we won.
I want to ask, we're talking about composure.
Yeah.
When it was 2-2, I saw the headset come off. What was going on there?
Yeah, I was pretty upset.
Was it just like the way the game went?
Yeah,
or like,
it was really bad. Like, I don't know. We kind of thought the game was over, but I was so strong. Like, I just wanted one team fight.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get to have one team fight. So I got really upset.
For what it's worth, I thought you had a ripper series.
Thank you.
What's the plan for tonight, tomorrow? Like, what's the go? Like, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna go home and play solo queue?
Probably not, because like you're kind of warming up today for tomorrow. You know, you played 5 games. I don't think it's good to play more tonight. Just rest. We'll probably go out for dinner and then talk about draft for tomorrow.
And just so you know, I predicted 3-2 Legacy win.
Good man. Good man.
For my little broccoli head. My little broccoli head.
Good man.
Well
You're smart. You're just smart.
Well, tomorrow you will be going up against Order.
Yes.
You've progressed on to the next boss battle.
Yeah.
Do you have any expectations or feelings towards how you think that match will go?
It's going to be hard. Their bot lane is just really, really good. It just depends on, how they play on the day. I think Swift is starting to look more promising, because they used to just have FBI as a win condition and the rest of the team was pretty like meh. But Spooks is playing better. Tally's actually playing better.
Hey, I want to jump in there real quick. The last time you versed them, you cleaned the floor with them, okay? So I want to hear, they're matching your standards now. You're the standard, and they're like, you know what? We lost to them last time. What are we going to do to win this one?
Look, I think if me and Daniel, like me and Decoy play well tomorrow, I think we'll win.
Woo, I like it.
Brandon's going to pop off tomorrow. Brandon was just relaxing today.
I was on the couch.
No, other Brandon. Brandon. Claire was relaxing today, saving all his energy for tomorrow, so
was like
I did heavy lifting today.
Spirit bomb going off, getting ready.
Yeah.
Well, Raid, is there anything you'd like to say to your fans or Legacy fans or supporters watching from home?
Thanks everyone for watching my games. Hope you cheer us on for tomorrow, and I hope to win. Go to Rift Rivals.
Yeah, because the winner of tomorrow will lock in Rift Rivals with Direwolves and Chiefs. That'll be a good one to watch.
But it's going to be a hard game tomorrow. I'm expecting 5 games, to be honest.
5 games like today. Yeah. Another long one. Well, congratulations on today's win. It was a long series, but you did come out on top. And a big thank you to Juves for joining us today. He will be back tomorrow. And a big thank you to this little man here, Bailey, for being the superstar he always is. But to close out the first Gauntlet match, we're going to hand it back over to Jake and Bryce.
Thanks so much, Laura. So hearing from Ray there, he thinks that a lot of that matchup tomorrow does hinge on the bottom lane of Legacy being able to match FBI and Rogue. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like 100% agree. Order, bottom lane have shown that time and time again they do like to play the aggressive matchup. They're the team that's most successful with the Thresh, things like that. They like going in.
Do they?
And I feel like Legacy's bot lane are going to probably be going back as best they can. And I will see how it goes. I do have to mention, before we move on to anything, that I feel like Bailey is like kind of becoming a little bit of a diva. Because last time he was on the couch, like he was sitting there nicely, T-Gun sitting next to him, but now he's like in the middle of a segment, he's like getting off, he's running around. Like, you know, he's like
he's too at home now.
Yeah, he's had enough of this stupid analyst hangout. He doesn't want anything to do with it.
You're not even listening to it anymore. No more treats. He's just peaced out. However, with Legacy's victory today, it does mean that they are progressing through the Gauntlet. I mean, it did take them all 5 games. You know, 3-2 versus Avant Gaming does mean they are now eliminated. We've already talked a little bit about tomorrow's game, but want to dive deeper. Order is a team that everyone on Order, myself included, keeps saying this is a team that was built for second split, want to go to Worlds, like, no Korean boot camp. What are your thoughts on what Order are hoping to achieve tomorrow, Bryce?
I feel like the players have bought in. And that's the worst thing, because Order coming into the split, they can say, like, all they want, like, yeah, we didn't go to Korea first split, like AV, like Chiefs, like Direwolves, but now that they've had a successful run at the end of the split, they're sitting there thinking, and the players like, oh, like, we can do it. Like, suddenly, like, let Direwolves looking rough around the edges, Chiefs, like, we've beaten them before. You know what I mean? Like, they've bought into the hype, and that's possibly the worst thing for them.
So are they going to do it? That's the big question.
I don't know.
We'll
find out for my prediction for tomorrow.
Yeah, what is your preview? How do you, like, not necessarily a scoreline, but today I think we got it right. We said, you know, long, scrappy games. It's going to evolve into a meta. And then Legacy eventually got the upper hand, which both of us picked last night. So what is your preview of tomorrow's game?
I think we'll see much cleaner games, and I feel like they do favor Order. Today, we saw very scrappy, very back and forth, even in Legacy's wins, barring the one. Barring the one game 3 was really like just back and forth. They were throwing time and time again. And I feel like there is a pretty steep drop off between Direwolves, Chiefs, Order, and then AV and Legacy. I feel like there is like a top 3 and a top 5. So I'm predicting very strong showing at Order next day, tomorrow.
And I think that last time we said this, Order came in, got rolled, and then everyone was like, maybe they're not even a top 3 team. And I hate to break it to you, that was only 2 weeks ago. However, that is all the League of Legends action we have for you tonight. So thank you so much for tuning in to the first day of the Gauntlet. As Bryce mentioned, we have got more for you tomorrow at 5 p.m. But on behalf of myself, Egium, Laura, Juice, Bailey, and the entire production crew, as well as Hungry Jacks, we'll catch you tomorrow for some more OPL action. Now in trouble, gets flashed on, gets suppressed, gets brought back, and will get blown up. First blood for Civil.
He does get rooted up. He's going to die very quickly.
Like, straight away, he just gets lit up and gets destroyed. If you are Jake, that is not the situation you want to be left in. Horn, and you can see that it will knock out both members, and they just blow up Frey, and Pabu now has to head for the hills. Civil, in response, is getting chunked very low, but they... Wow, that's so much damage. I mean, Pabu, goodbye. You were there for a while, and now you are not. And in comes Frey, and he will be able to do so much damage. Huge Tempered Fate, and Pabu is now here as well. Raid has sprinted to the back to try and get the ultimate. Blinky is dead. Jake is dead, and this is once again going to be Legacy looking to march into the base. Mimic and Claire are pumping out the damage. Do have to burn the flash, but Raid flashes in, grabs himself a triple. Can we make it a quadra? Looking to buy one here. No, he's just going to give it over to his team. He does not care, and now it is only
in Legacy. I'm not going to be the 5th place finish.
It's going to be Avant Gaming one more time locked into 5th, and Legacy going the distance, picking up all 5 games.